Last week's subtopic was I choose to be right. If that bless you, lift your hands. That's still blessing me this week. Amen. I choose to be right. Favor is fair. It is fair. I've been through enough to deserve a little favor. Amen.
All right.
So this favor that I have, it is fair. Hallelujah. So here we are in the book of Genesis, chapter 6. I think my reader don't appreciate this one.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Amen. Everybody shout, but Noah.
But Noah.
My translation says, found favor in the sight of the Lord.
All right.
So shout favor.
Favor.
Shout again, shout favor.
Favor.
This week we're going to talk about favor in a crisis.
All right.
Favor in a crisis. Favor in a crisis. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor.
Neighbor.
Do you have a crisis?
Do you have a crisis?
Wait on them to reply. They may not have a crisis. But if you got a crisis, you're about to find favor.
All right.
If you're coming out of crisis, you're stepping into favor.
All right.
If you're about to go into a crisis, you're going to find favor. Amen. Go over to the book of Luke. That was my foundational scripture. I think I gave it to you, Marissa. Book of Luke. Did I give it to you? I might not have given it to you. Luke chapter 2, verse 52, it reads, And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. Now, if Jesus had to increase in favor, then that means that we also need to increase in favor. If Jesus needed favor, that means you also need favor. Touch yourself, say, I need favor.
I need favor.
Favor with God should be your goal. Favor with God should be your goal. What you have to learn is this, is that you don't need favor from everybody. You only need favor from one person.
All right.
If you get favor from the right one, you'll never need favor from nobody else. I wish I could find the church right there. When the right person show you favor, your entire life will change. Your entire season will change. Your entire lifestyle changes. And when what you are actually calling favor, if it shows up for real. If favor shows up for real, watch this, and change is not behind it, then what you have is not favor, you just got a blessing.
All right.
Well, I wish I could just talk just real quickly. If your blessing runs out and it doesn't continue to go on and on, you don't have favor, you have a blessing.
All right.
But when you have favor changes your life so that the blessings can keep coming. I wish I could find the church right there. And I come to prophesy to about 5 folks. God is about to take you out of your season of blessing, and he's about to put you into your season of favor. What that looks like is your blessing won't just be a blessing. You're about to be the blessing. You're about to walk in favor. You're about to walk in blessing. You're going to get blessing after blessing after blessing. Why? Because the favor of the Lord is on you.
All right.
Some blessings are because you are favored, and some are not.
All right.
Blessings that continue or blessings that increase would represent favor in God. When favor shows up, something is about to change.
All right.
Therefore, if you don't handle change well, then it is hard for God to send you favor. If change throws you into a whirlwind, then God hesitates with your favor. There is something that favor will do for you that your degree may never do for you. Okay?
Amen. You're right.
Let me help you understand something. I have an EDD. I have what you call a PhD in educational leadership. But my degree didn't give me my job.
All right.
Favor did.
All right. All right.
If my degree got it, then I could have got fired. But because favor got it for me, they can't fire me. I wish I could get fired. See, our problem is we're on jobs, watch this, that other folk got for us. But when God gets you the job, your boss can try to set you up. Your co-worker can, watch this, your co-worker can do all kinds of stuff with you and about you. But favor will maintain and keep you there because favor is sustaining.
You're right. You're right.
Watch this, you can have a degree but not find a job.
You're right.
You can have a PhD and work at McDonald's.
Yep.
But you can be a person who got favor and a high school diploma. And your favor will get you a job that a PhD won't even get you an interview for.
All right.
I just said something real heavy right there. All because favor has a way of showing up. And favor can take an ex-con and make him a CEO. And favor can take a drug addict and make him a probate judge. Favor, watch this. Favor can take you out of a bad past and put you into a promising future. It's all right if you got a past that says one thing, but if favor ever hits your life, favor will change your whole future. I wish I had a church like that. Favor will do this for you. It'll convince you that it's never too late. I looked up that song. I couldn't find the artist. But you know the song, Never Too Late, Never Too Late. The Spirit prophesied that in my spirit. He said, tell them, when you got favor, it ain't never too late. Never too late to see change in your situation. Never too late to succeed. Never too late to find a husband. Never too late to go back to school. It's never too late, never too late. You ought to look at your neighbor and say, it's never too late. That's the wrong neighbor. Find somebody else and say, it's never too late. If you ain't got children yet, it ain't too late. If you ain't found a job yet, it ain't too late. If you ain't got the house of your dreams, it ain't too late. If you ain't got the money that you want to have, it ain't too late. If you ain't got your peace yet, it's not too late. If you ain't found love yet, it's not too late. I don't care if you're 65 and not married. Baby, God, if I bring a man at 65 and make you think you've been married for 65 years. Look at your neighbor and say, never too late.
Never too late.
Want children, but you're 50, it ain't too late. Oh, I got proof right there. Come here, Abraham. Favor has a way. Watch this. Come here. Come here, Abraham. Favor has a way of giving you the ability to perform even at an old age.
You're right.
I wish I could just find the church right there. Favor has a way of giving you the ability to perform at an old age. Abraham was 100. Sarah was 90. The Bible says Sarah was barren. She lacked the ability to give birth. Favor has a way of bringing fertility to a barren place. I come to prophesy. Favor has a way of bringing fertility to a barren place. The Bible says that Abraham could not perform, but he went in after favor hit his life. And every seed that he shot out came to pass. I wish I could find the church right there. He was shooting blanks. I can't get no church right there. But after favor hit his life, he had some power behind the bullets. I wish I could find it. Because favor makes a seed grow in a a place where it wasn't supposed to grow. I wish I could find. Favor will make a seed grow
It will.
in a place that's not supposed to grow.
All right.
Oh, I can say that again. Favor will make a seed grow in a place where it's not supposed to grow. I wish I could find a church for favor will make a seed grow in a place. See, God told me to stop by and prophesy to everybody that sowed seeds in bad ground. He said, I'm going to go back and get the seed that you sowed in ground that you didn't know about. And I'm going to cause it to grow in a place that it should not go. God said, I'm not going to let you have wasted seed in this season, because favor has a way of picking up a seed on the bad ground and causing it to grow.
All right.
Oh, listen to what the Spirit of the Lord says. He says, tell the people. See, I'm still prophesying. Y'all better catch it. He said, tell the people he's about to cause seeds to grow in places that it wasn't supposed to grow. He's about to cause you to grow in areas that you were never meant to be successful in. God said, tell the people he's about to bless you out of your field, out of your major, out of your area of expertise, out of the area that you are skilled in. Watch this. And with the people that don't like you, and in places that you were rejected from. Oh, I wish I could find every seed that falls to the ground in this season will grow no matter the ground.
All right.
He says, tell them, I'm about to grow seeds in unusual places through unusual circumstances. Then he says, tell them, I'm about to reverse the curse of barrenness.
All right.
I'm about to lift the very thing that was keeping you from producing in your past. Some of you, for the first time in the years of your life, you are about to see change in your situation, change in your circumstance, change in your living condition, change in your job, because favor is about to hit your life and put an end to your season of suffering.
All right.
Can I just prophesy that to about 5 people that been through a lot of hell and ain't seen no change yet? God said this favor is about to put an end to your suffering.
All right.
Favor is about to consume your enemy. It's about to consume your problems. It's about to take over your life. High five 3 people. 1, 2. Now go back and tell them, say favor, favor, favor. Come on, prophesy to her right, say favor, favor, favor. Your $1 is about to be $100. I can't get no amens right there. Your $20 is about to be $2,000. I wish I could find a church right there. Every seed that you sowed in your past time, God is about to cause it to grow in this season. I wish somebody else seen in the spirit. Your field that didn't have no flowers is about to grow all kind of flowers. He said, in due season you will reap if you don't find. When I was in worship, he told me, he said, get down. I said, okay. So I knelt down. And I didn't know why, so I started worshiping. And he says, now that you're here with me, he says, I'm going to give you an anointing to anoint favor. I said, okay, what you want me to do with it? He said, don't touch them, touch this ground. What I did. So I laid down and I rubbed my hands on the ground, and he says, now call the ground favored. And every person who has a foot on this ground will walk out of this building. And I wish I could find that church right there. I wish I could just find 2 people right there. Not just you about to be favored, but your whole house is about to go into favor. Everyone your feet tread, don't go look at you and give you favor. I mean, when you go and get your next set of ties, they gonna give you a discount that blow your mind. You know, I wish I could just find a church that just know I'm walking in favor. I found your neighbor and say, baby, now you walking in favor. Because you are on holy ground. You are on favor ground. This ground has been anointed for favored folk.
All right.
Oh. He said, tell them their whole walk is about to change.
All right.
Hallelujah. And they'll have the case of the can't help it.
All right.
He said they're not going to be able to help how their attitude changes for the better. It's not going to be bouginess. It's going to be confidence. Because favor going to follow them so much. He's talking about the people in here today. He said favor going to follow so much that they're going to be looking back because favor just going to be running up hitting them with stuff that they ain't even asked for. He said surely goodness and mercy.
Follow me. Yes, Lord.
Sit down, shout favor.
Favor.
Let's look at the text. I'm about to go home. Look at the text. Genesis 6, chapter 1, verse number 1. Let me educate some people. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Read it, Bridget.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth.
Wait, they did what?
Multiply.
They began to multiply. We in chapter 6, right? 5 chapters before this one, God created the heavens and the earth. He created man in chapter 2, right?
Right.
Read it.
And that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
He said, they took the daughters of men, that they were fair. Fair translated, they look good.
Right.
They took the good-looking women, and they took them for wives.
Right.
They took the good-looking women and made them wives. Now, if you go on down in the book of Judges, men chose wives not by how they look, but by how they worship. There's a scripture that says, he told the man of God, when you go and choose a wife, he says, go and look out in the multitude and pick the one that's in worship. Because the one that's in worship, can I just stop for a few seconds and tell about 4 or 5 women that's unmarried? The reason why your soulmate ain't made it yet, because he ain't saw your worship yet. Because the way you gonna choose a wife is you find a woman that knows how to worship God in spirit and in truth.
All right.
Say they look fair. Anytime you worship, a glory comes on you. And it makes you look better than what you look.
You're right. Amen.
Hey, read it, Bridget. I'm going somewhere.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man.
Keep going.
For that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
Wait. His days shall be. Now wait. He just created man 4 chapters ago. Man could live. The oldest man that was alive was Methuselah, lived 969 years old. Right?
Yes, sir.
But when sin entered man's life, God cut the number of years that man could live.
You're right.
Y'all better just see this. We could originally live to almost be 1,000 years old, but when sin entered the earth and we began to follow our flesh, then it caused us to live a whole lot shorter lives than what we were really supposed to live.
All right.
Now, by the time we made it to chapter 6, the only amount of years we had promised to us was 120 years. Get over into the New Testament, you ain't got but 70 now.
Wow.
Wish I could just find a church right there.
You're right.
What am I saying? There's something about right living that extends your life. See, you think that God is trying to make you live right for other reasons, but God is trying to get you to live right to extend your life.
You're right.
Ever thought? We think, we pray for everybody that passed. God forbid. We all sad and we mourn. But nobody considers the life that they live.
You're right.
See, I don't want to be this preacher, but we don't consider. Everybody don't die for whatever reasons, but some people are dying because of the way they live.
You're right.
I wish I could just find a church like that. Young people, some young folk are dying early, not because it was their time, but because they cut their days short.
All right.
I wish I could just fine.
You're right.
Don't go on, don't walk out of the church on. It's all about the choices that you make and how you decide to follow God. God don't just tell you not to drink so he can keep you from feeling good. He tell you not to drink so you can live long.
All right.
Okay, read. No, read the next one.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
Keep reading.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Wow.
And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
He was sad that he made us because of how we were living.
Wow.
My question to you is God sad for creating you because of how you are?
Wow.
Because when God gets to the place that where he's sad about your creation, then he considers other measures. Read it, Bridget.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them.
I'm gonna get rid of man, beast, and everything that creeps, fowl of the air. I'm gonna get rid of all of it because man trained them and he named them. So if I let them stay, then what he taught them will continue to go on.
Wow.
There's something about the way you teach. Something about the way you teach your children and you teach your family and you teach those things, those people that are following you. It's something about the way you teach them that will make a decision about how they live the rest of their lives.
You're right. You're right.
God holds me accountable as a preacher for the way I teach you. He holds you accountable for the way you teach those connected to you.
You're right.
See, I get rid of all of it because I'm afraid that man taught him something that ain't up to my standards.
Yeah.
He said, so I got to get rid of it. Now, this don't sound like favor. But read verse 8.
But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord.
Oh, who found favor? Noah. No, now, there had to be something in Noah that made God consider or not consider him a part of the equation.
You're right.
When favor hits your life, you become an exception to the rule. You become an exception to God's ruling of everybody else. I wish I could find a church right there. When favor hits your life, God calls you to live differently. But many of us complain about how God is calling us to live, but we don't know the favor God is trying to give. Okay. Let me stop and slow down. There's a level of weight and frustration and loneliness that comes with living for God. There are some of you who are compromising that lifestyle even now because at times living for God does not seem favorable to you. When everybody else is partying it up, God says you're at home, you're on your face in prayer. When everybody else can go to this place and to that function, and your spirit tells you not to go and you stay at home. When God calls you to live differently, he's trying to make you an exception to a rule when he's casting down a ruling for everybody else.
All right.
Okay. Let me say it another way. The whole country can go in recession and money can be funny. But yours will never get funny if you got favor. Okay, y'all understood that, right?
It worked.
Your whole family could have, watched this, could have been bogged down with cancer, but when it got to you, cancer could not bother you because favor was on you. I wish I could just find a church right there. Shout favor.
Favor.
Noah was favored in more than one way. That didn't seem like favor. Let me just break it down. Put your brain caps on for just a second. I want to bother your brain just for 1 second. God told Noah to build an ark. Doesn't seem like much of a revelation, except for the fact that there were no boats that existed. There were no boats, no cars. There were no boats. So Noah had never seen an ark. He never seen a boat. But God told him to build something he ain't never seen. He told Noah that a flood was coming. There had never been a flood. As a matter of fact, if you go back and read it in Genesis chapter 2, there had never even been rain.
You're right.
Noah didn't even know what rain was, not even let alone a boat. So here God was speaking some vocabulary and some language that Noah knew nothing about. Oh, I'm going somewhere with this. Before this day, God is speaking to Noah. There had never been flood, it had never been a boat, or it had never been rain. There are no hammers. There are no screwdrivers.
All right.
There are no boats. I wish I could just find a church. There are no drills. There are no chainsaws. There are no axes that existed. None of these things existed, but God is telling him there were no construction workers. There were no carpenters. There were no team of folk that knew how to put a boat together.
All right.
So what are you saying about favor? When God brings favor to you, he will introduce a vocabulary and a language to you that he's never introduced before. Wait.
All right.
God entrusted Noah with the solution to a problem that hadn't even showed up yet. Okay. I tried to bring that down, but it didn't work. Okay, let me try it again. If you want the formula to becoming rich, you got to get to the solution before the world ever knows there is a problem. You got to be the first to figure it out. The future is in the hands of the people who beat the other folk to the rest of the problem.
All right.
Okay. God wants to know, can you get to the place of favor where God will trust you with the next level or discovery of a world's crisis before it ever shows up? Y'all faith ain't high enough yet. God says, tell him like this, because he knew that would be too high. See, that's meat, that's steak. Let me bring it down to milk. He said, tell him it just like this. I'm about to start releasing tomorrow's answers today.
All right. All right.
They want me to hoop and holler. He said, I'm about to give them an answer about a problem in their tomorrow that they don't know nothing about. I'm about to give them solution for a crisis of 2 weeks from the day that they have no idea that's about to show up. So when they get in that day, they will not be hit with a surprise.
All right.
Church. He says, tell them you will no longer show, when you got favor, you will no longer show up to a problem without a solution. You will no longer enter a crisis without a crisis management plan. Because favor ain't just money. Favor is when God gives you information early that don't nobody else have.
All right.
I would like to know that my brother is going to run into an issue a month from today. But God tell me about it so I can prevent it from being a threat or a danger to him.
All right.
See, y'all want the money or favor. I don't want the money. Let me know that my mama is about to have an issue in her body.
All right.
But if God say I'll pray about it for 2 weeks,
All
then
right.
she'll never have to be bothered with it.
All right.
I wish I could go find the church right there. I wish I could just. What if God told me? I'm trying. Y'all want the favor of money. I'm trying to teach you a different type of favor.
Right.
Wouldn't you like to know 6 months from the day you're going to be laid off from your job so you can have another one before the layoff comes?
All right. You're right.
Wouldn't you like to know that your car going to break down or blow a tire on I-20, but the Lord say if you will pray today, you will never see the accident? I wish I could just find the church. Because God is trying to get you a favor that gives you information that you should know.
All right.
Nobody else in the world knew a flood was coming. but Noah. Because he knew he could prepare for something he had never seen. Would you like to be able to prepare for something you ain't never seen? Come on. Watch this. He built a boat. Y'all thought he drove the boat. You know, this is illustrious ship. Right? But in actuality, God didn't help Noah build this boat for him to drive it. He only gave him the measurements to build it so he could stay afloat.
All right.
I wish I could. I'm trying to slow down so y'all can catch me. He said, so I told him to build an ark, not for him to drive it to another location, but I gave him the dimensions of this ark, just enough for him to stay afloat.
All right.
And God is saying, tell the folk the reason why you didn't lose your mind while you were in it, because he gave you just enough to stay afloat. I wish I could. He didn't want to teach you how to swim. He didn't want to teach you how to drive. He just wanted to teach you how to float. A lot of y'all are trying to swim before you learn to float, but you can't swim before you float. Because you got to learn to trust the water with your body. Okay. In order to float, there's a level of trust that has to come to you for the water.
All right.
If you don't trust the water to hold you up, you will never float. Now the water, according to the Word of God, is the Word of God.
All right.
So if I never trust the Word with my situation,
all right,
I'll never stay afloat.
Amen.
And a lot of our problems, the reason why we're sinking and we're drowning in the midst of our situation is because we ain't learned to trust the Word. I mean the water.
All right.
God ain't trying to get you to drive to a new location. He's trying to teach you how to float in dangerous situations. Wow. Let's look at it. I'm going down right here. He said, tell them favor will increase your productivity in your ministry. Favor will increase your productivity in your ministry. Now put it up. Acts 2:47.
Praising God continually and having favor with all the people.
How many people? Oh. When you get favor, you get it with everybody, not just one.
All right.
See, that's y'all see. See, when you like to go in the grocery store, have favor, go to the car dealership, have favor, go to the service department, have favor, go to Alabama Power, have favor, go to Aspire, have favor, go to the Spectrum, have favor.
All right.
Y'all just want favor with Alabama Power. Now, I want favor with Alabama Gas, Alabama Water, Alabama. I just wish I want favor to follow me everywhere I go. I want to go to Walmart, somebody behind me, in front of me, and they are fighting over paying for my groceries because I pay $150 a week for groceries. I want that type of favor where they say, don't worry about it, sir, we got you. When I go and get some new tires next week.
Come on, man.
Come on.
I don't need money if I got favor.
You're right.
I wish I could just find it. Trying to help. Y'all want the money, but God said stop asking for money. If you'll get the favor, you don't need money.
All right.
I'm about to prove it to y'all. Y'all watch this. Come on. Pray God, pray
God continually and having favor with all the people. And the Lord kept adding to their number.
Wait. He kept adding to the church by favor. David.
Yeah.
It tripped me out. He said your church don't grow after favor hit your members. I wish I could.
All right.
Okay. That bothered me because it just tripped me out. He said, but when they go out there and folks see the favor on their life, they're going to want to know where they got it from. So what they do, they going to come to where you've been going to see what you give. And then they going to get them a little something. And then they going to walk out in favor. And then folks going to see them. I wish I could just be in the church right there. Everybody start walking out of here in favor, and they don't want to know what they're doing over there.
All right.
Everybody getting new cars. Everybody getting new houses. Everybody starting businesses. I wish I could just find a church right there. Everybody got ideas. years. Everybody getting promotions. When they go into the church, they go to the Word Center. Over there in the shopping plaza. Beside Cato's. You ought to check them out.
All right. Check them out.
That's good.
He said, he didn't just add. He said the folk that he brought, they got saved.
Come on now.
He ain't bringing other folks' church members. I'm trying. He ain't bringing them. He bringing the folk that ain't saved.
All right.
Because the folk that ain't saved, they judging your life and trying to figure out why you going to church so much but you still broke. But when they see you walking in favor, they going to say, okay, there's something to God that I got to know about. I wish I could just find a church right there. When you know you ain't got a high school diploma but you working and they think you do.
That's good.
How can a person without a degree make more money than a person with several degrees? Y'all ain't got to tell me. I'm telling you what the Lord said. Favor. I went to school 10 years, but there are folk in here that make more money than I do. You want to know how they doing that? Favor. Because favor will do stuff for you that degrees won't.
All right. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So he said, tell them like this. When favor show up, it builds your faith. And when favor show and it builds your faith, faith then becomes your currency.
All right. Wow.
I'm trying to, I wish I could just.
You're right.
I could just get you to understand. Favor will build your faith, and faith will become your currency.
Right.
This means when you don't have it, you don't go to complaining first, you go to faith first, because faith will buy what you can't.
All right.
God told me, he said, whisper and tell the folk at the WCM, in this next season, you're not supposed to be able to afford it.
All right.
I could just find it. He said, y'all got to be okay with not being able to afford what you want and what I got for you. Okay, he gave me an analogy, so I'm going to use it. Watch this. He said, your baby come to you, she say, Daddy, I'm saving up to buy a car. She say, I almost got enough. And I say, okay, baby. I say, the father says, okay, whatever you have saved, I'll add to it. Not only am I going to add to it, I'm going to double it. Now watch this. The car that she was going to buy with what she could afford was one thing. But after speaking with the father and getting favor of the father, she's not going to pick out the car that she can't afford. Now she is going to pick out a car that we can afford.
All right.
I just said something right there. God is asking you, are you picking out stuff that you can afford, or are you choosing stuff that we can afford? I was just like, what kind of house you gonna pick out? What kind of job you gonna pick out? What kind of land you gonna own? Are you on the land that you can afford, or the land that is weak?
All right.
Slap your neighbor and say, God said we can't afford it. We can't afford the new house. We can't afford the new car. We can't afford the new land. We can't afford the business. We can't afford it. You can't afford it.
We can. We can.
But with the favor of the Father, we can. I wish I could just find a church that'll receive that. God is saying, you are about to walk in favor that we can. Not that you can. See, a lot of you been trying to do it yourself. But God said you're about to step into a season you ain't got to do nothing for yourself. He said it's going to be a week.
All right.
Not a you. It's going to be a week. It's going to be a week. So everywhere I go now, you know, the bank loan that denied me a couple of months ago, when I go back again, I ain't going alone. I got a co-signer the week.
All right.
I didn't have enough equity for the amount of the loan that I wanted. But God got all kind of land.
Yeah.
And houses that he owns that's got plenty of equity.
All right.
So when I go back with God, I can't afford it. But together,
We can.
As I end with this declaration, I'm prophesied to about 6 people. He said, tell them these 9 things. Favor will produce supernatural increase and promotion. Favor produces restoration of everything that the enemy has stolen. Favor produces honor in the midst of your adversaries. Favor will produce increased assets, especially in the area of real estate. God is saying, I am dropping an anointing in this house for favor on real estate. Y'all better hear what I'm saying. He says, favor on real estate. You are about to start owning stuff you were renting in the last season. I wish I could just find a church right there. You will no longer be borrowers, but you are going to start to be owners and lenders, because God is about to give you a real estate anointing. Step your neighbor and say, I got a real estate anointing. Favor is about to produce great victories in the midst of great impossibilities. Favor is about to produce recognition even when it seems like you're the least likely to receive it. Favor is about to produce preferential treatment. Favor is about to produce petitions granted.
All right.
Then he says, tell them that favor will change laws and procedures for it. But lastly, it'll fight battles so you don't have to fight.
All right.
He says, tell him I told Noah some information he didn't have to know, but I told him because he needed to know it. Now watch this. His family wasn't living right.
No.
But because of Noah's lifestyle, God gave them favor when they didn't deserve it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So much so that every animal he chose got favor. I wish I could just. This don't sound funny, but even your pets can gain favor in your season of favor. Come on. Because everything connected to you, God will favor it because of the favor on your life.
All right.
Read verse 8 one last time and I'm done. You can stand. Now I got a few people to talk to.
But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord.
He found what?
Favor.
He found what?
Favor.
In whose eyes?
Lord.
Found favor in the eyes of the Lord. After the flood was over, he sent out a bird to check to see if everything was good. Bird found the rainbow, came back. Now this tripped me out. I didn't know birds could talk. But the bird told Noah it was clear.
All right.
See how you know? I ain't never thought about that. He sent the bird out. The bird came back with the answer. But how did he communicate it? I'll let you think about that on the way home. But after he came out, he came out into a new land with a new beauty and a start over.
All right.
And God is saying, when I bring favor to your life, I start your entire life over.
All right. Thank you.
Some of you are about to experience the start over of your life.
All right.
And some of you need it, even though you won't admit it. If you just lift your hands right where you are, God is about to start some of y'all all the way over into a fresh place, into a fresh land, into a more beautiful place than what you've ever seen before.
All right.
And it's all clear. And it's ready for you to possess it. Now we're standing all over the building. Harold, you'll come back. He says, remind them that it's not what you can afford, what we can afford.
All right.
You and the Father. If you and the Father are in it together, you can get anything. But if you try to do anything separate from the Father, you have to do it in your own strength.
All right.
That's when you get weak, when you do it in your own strength. That's why the Bible says I can do all things
Right.
through Christ,
Yep.
who strengthens me. So I thank God right now for the start over.
Yes.
I thank God right now for his unusual favor.
Yes, Lord.
I thank God that today I'm leaving out of here with a new mindset, with some new feet.
Amen.
I'm walking in favor. I'm walking in an unusual favor that I've never experienced before. God is about to give me information of the lifetime. God is about to literally give some of you ideas that nobody has ever seen or heard of before.
All right.
And it's going to make some of y'all millionaires. I prophesy. And you won't wait on it. You won't linger on it. You won't ask God a whole bunch of questions. But you're going to do just like Noah. Build something you ain't never seen before. I wish I could just find about 10 people with faith. Hallelujah. God is about to grace you with some creativity and some ideas that's about to blow your mind. You're going to be asking God, what is this that I see? And God is going to say, technology of 2022. He's going to say, it's ideas and inventions of 2032. God is about to drop ideas from the future in your life now.
Praise the Lord. Thank you, Lord.
If you got the faith for it, your faith going to become your currency.
All right.
God gonna give you favor with banks. Hallelujah, God. He gonna give you favor with lenders. He gonna give you favor with people who are wealthy. Hallelujah. They're gonna sponsor your ideas. They're gonna give you the finances that you need to get it off the ground, because they're gonna see that the hand of God is on it. And before long, you will be a millionaire. In the name of, I declare and I decree it right now, God, invade their minds with creativity and ideas that they've never heard of or seen before. God, give them new inventions and new creations, oh God, right now in this place, God. Give them things beyond their years of comprehension. God, we declare that favor is about to show up and show out. It's about to show up and show out. It's about to show up and show out. Favor's about to show up and show out. Favor's about to show up and show out. Favor's about to show up and show out. Lift your hands. You just worship God right where you are. Miss Seals, will you come?